If you spend enough time on the YouTube, eventually you may come across this guy known as Will Jordan, or as he goes by YouTube names, the Critical Drinker. For those of you who don't know who the Critical Drinker is, he's this guy on YouTube who does things from movie reviews to show fixes, and he even does recommendations for stuff he actually likes and thinks you might like. But another little known fact about this little known content creator is that he's actually a writer.
Well, Lottie frickin' da! We got ourselves a writer here!
So, in the spirit of giving it back, so to speak, I decided to give Will Jordan's book, Redemption, a review. And I decided what better way to review the Critical Drinker's work than to review it in his own styling. Oh, crap. I don't think he's actually drunk when he records these. Whoa, 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 whoa! Wrong parody. Wrong parody. Draker doesn't have a theme song. Yet. We'll make him one or something, I don't know. Alright, shall we begin with Redemption by Will Jordan. Our story begins, like any good story, at the very end. Our main character, Ryan Drake, is dying and he's just been shot and he feels like the end is about to overlap and take him, and just as he fades away into nothing, we go back in time to a group of people in Iraq who have just lost control of their Predator drone. A lot of the build-up for this is quite good, as it sets the mystery. A lot of questions come up. Who are these guys? Why am I supposed to care? And the book does a very good job of moving on from that and bringing it up later. We then meet our hero, who was just dying, Ryan Drake, who is not dying at the moment, on a healthy jog. It's his first day off in forever, and lo and behold, he gets called in from his boss to come in for yet another mission. Come to find out, he's been tasked with busting a very attractive woman out of a Russian prison. The book does a very interesting job of being aware of itself, and that it feels like the character is dropped into a spy novel. In fact, that's exactly what the narrator says. He's dropped into a spy novel. Which then sets the tone that this book understands full well what it is, and that it should be taken with a Tom Clancy grain of salt. From there, our hero has the task of coming up with a way to bust out attractive female from prison. And so, of course, he puts together a ragtag team of brutes and unlikely heroes. Well, I mean, they're likely, but they all fit typecast roles to parachute into this prison from high above. Now, of course, credit where due with this. The prison break involves jumping from an aircraft so many thousands of feet in the air, and then parachuting almost immediately, making it a very slow, long descent to the prison below. This approach is actually quite ingenious. It avoids having to cross into the ADIS, which, for those of you who don't know, is basically what's referred to as a country's airspace, while slowly parachuting towards a horrible prison in Russia. This is also not to be confused with a halo jump. Yeah, just like that. No. A halo is when a bunch of people form a halo, and they do a long, quick jump, and it's basically a free fall for the longest time. Well, this is not the halo jump. It's the exact opposite. It's the one that takes longer. Instead of parachuting right at the last second before you impact with the ground, You parachute almost immediately, slowly falling for hours and hours and hours until finally you make it to the bottom. So anyway, they get to the prison and they start finding the woman, and as they bust her out, she kills her prison guard because, lo and behold, you might find this hard to believe, in a ratty Russian prison there's a bunch of rapists. Wow, who knew? So they save prison. So they save the chick from the prison, and then they escape. Well, I give you credit for doing your homework on endurance. The fuel that it would take to get from Russia, Siberia to be specific, to Alaska would be a lot of gas. And, well, a Chinook helicopter does have those capabilities in cruise mode, especially if modified properly. Of course, there's the one problem. The whole point of doing the jump in the first place was to avoid having to use aircraft to get in and out. Except that one of the handlers, Kane, his name is, briefly makes mention of, we'll just have a helicopter that'll show up, pilot has to show up and go, and then moves on, and then that's all we get for an explanation. Look, I'm a writer too, okay? Everybody's allowed a few creative liberties. But that said, fuck off, book. Write a better explanation for how they got away. Oh, they just showed up. That'll be fine. So they get away, and lo and behold, not everything is hunky-dory. Our hero, Ryan Drake, gets a call from this mysterious guy, and then he has to take the woman that they busted out of prison and go across on a long worldwide adventure. At this point in our story, you're going to have to pick up and read the rest, because, in all honesty, the story itself is actually quite entertaining, and I'm not going to be a dick and ruin the endings. A lot of the twists and turns you don't see coming, and the resolution itself is one that definitely sets up for a long series of books that overall would make for any kind of television show adaptation, provided that you follow the source material, unlike another two first-name hero that has already gone off the rails. Yeah, Jack Ryan was great for one season. Anyway, we're here to talk about Ryan Drake, the main character in our story, Redemption by Will Jordan. Would I say that this book is worth your time? Well, considering I'm not spoiling the ending, absolutely. I give this book a solid 4 out of 5 stars, good character development, a few creative liberties here and there, but overall the story is believable. I would say overall that some of the weaker points of the book is that it can get exposition heavy at times. Unfortunately, there's just no way to avoid that. If you're looking for non-stop action, this book definitely has plenty of non-stop action with non-stop character development, and by the end you actually feel for every single person. It's not just focusing on one person being great or the other. This story is very team-driven, and I like team stories because in the end, everyone plays a part and contributes to the overall victory. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go buy Will Jordan's book, and don't be a dick.